You ever have one of those mornings where everything feels off and then it gets worse? Yeah, this story starts like that. It was a Saturday. Sunny. Birds chirping. I had a hot coffee in hand and big plans involving absolutely no stress. Until I walked out and saw a silver SUV parked diagonally across my driveway. Not in front. Not near. Right? Across. I don't have a shared driveway. I don't live in a complex. I live in a quiet cul-de-sac with clearly marked property lines, a mailbox with my name, and a very specific driveway I paid a lot of money for. And yet, there it was, a silver Land Rover. No note. No explanation. Just entitlement parked in chrome. That's when I met her. She strolled out from the house 2 doors down, tall, stiff posture, sunglasses at 8A. And with the unmistakable confidence of someone who's never been told no in her life. "Hi, I'm Karen," she said, with a wave that somehow felt like a warning. "Hope it's okay, I needed space for my guests." I blinked. My coffee went cold. She hoped it was okay? Spoiler, it wasn't. But oh, I didn't argue. Not yet. I smiled, said no problem, and went back inside. Because that was when the plans started forming. You see, some people learn through conversation. Karen? Karen was going to learn through consequences. And she had no idea what was coming. I'd lived in this neighborhood for 6 years. Never had issues. Nice people. Quiet block. We had an unofficial street group chat, annual yard sales, even a bake-off once. Then Karen moved in. Right away, the vibe shifted. She joined the HOA board by her second week, because of course she did, and within days she started handing out unsolicited landscaping advice and comments like, "You do know your garbage bins are visible from the curb, right?" She treated our street like her personal fiefdom. But it wasn't until the driveway incident that things really escalated. The first time, I chalked it up to poor judgment. I left a polite note. No response. Second time, a week later. Same spot. Blocking my car on a workday morning. I knocked. No answer. By the third time, she didn't even pretend. I was watering my lawn and watched her park, step out, and yell, "I'll only be a minute." That minute turned into 2 hours and a missed vet appointment for my dog. I confronted her. Calmly. I said, "Hey, I really need to be able to access my driveway. Can you park somewhere else?" She waved me off. "Oh, relax. It's not like you own the street." "No," I said. "But I do own the driveway." That's when she smirked. "Well, if it's such a big deal, maybe I'll bring it up at the next HOA meeting. Maybe we need to review driveway access." That was the moment I realized this wasn't ignorance. This was war. And Karen? She came armed with HOA bylaws, fake politeness, and an SUV that knew no boundaries. But what she didn't realize was I'm not the kind of neighbor you want to underestimate. That was just the beginning. In the weeks that followed, things spiraled fast. She didn't just keep parking in my driveway. She doubled down, brought guests. Sometimes I'd come home and find her friends tailgating on my lawn like it was a football game. I installed security cameras. She called it invasive. I put up cones. She moved them. I even filed a complaint to the HOA. Guess who chaired that session? Yep, Karen. She heard me out with a fake concerned face, then moved to dismiss it for lack of photographic evidence of impact. The gaslighting was insane. Then came the fines. She fined me for obstruction of shared community access. Let that sink in. I got fined for blocking my own driveway. It would have been funny if it weren't so infuriating. I started noticing petty things. My mailbox got dented. Packages went missing. My lawn sprinklers got mysteriously shut off. One morning, my trash cans were knocked over, contents scattered. I checked the footage. Blurry but unmistakable, her son and his friend laughing as they bolted away. I confronted her again. Her response? Boys will be boys. Maybe if you were friendlier, this wouldn't happen. I was done. I needed a win. Something. Anything. Then it hit me. Karen's arrogance was only matched by her obsession with HOA status. Power. Appearances. If she wanted a show, I was about to give her one. I started with research. HOA rules, county ordinances, easement laws, I read them all. Turns out, not only is blocking a private driveway a violation, it's also a towable offense. But I didn't just want a tow. I wanted impact. I wanted her to remember this lesson every single day she walked past my house. So I documented everything. Dates, photos, video clips, even timestamps from my Ring camera. I compiled it all into a tidy, well-organized file. Then, I ran for HOA board. Quietly, with help from a few very tired neighbors. Ones who'd also experienced Karen's driveway diplomacy. We campaigned on one platform. Respect your neighbors. The week before voting, I put up signs. Subtle but clear, driveway equals private property. With a link to our street code and the name of the ordinance. She scoffed. Mocked it at the meeting. Some people are just too territorial, she said with a laugh. The vote? I won. In a landslide. And at the very first meeting I chaired, I introduced a motion. Vehicles found blocking a residential driveway without explicit permission may be subject to immediate towing. It passed. Unanimously. That weekend she tried it again. Left her SUV just for 10 minutes in my driveway. I didn't knock. I didn't call. I towed it. She came storming down the street like a hurricane in yoga pants. You towed my car? I smiled. Calm. Professional. Sure did. HOA policy. You were at the meeting. But I live here. And you parked on someone else's property. You can't just. I didn't. We did. The board passed the rule. She stared at me. The rage was simmering. But then came the beauty. The neighbors started coming out. Mrs. Lee from across the street, waving. Dan from the corner lot nodding. Even old Mr. Bowers, who never gets involved, stood by his gate and said, "'Bout time." It was slow motion justice. She stormed off. Never parked in my driveway again. In fact, she barely showed her face at all after that. These days, the neighborhood's peaceful again. I sip my coffee on the porch, no SUVs blocking the driveway, no unsolicited gardening notes in the mailbox. And I keep the tow receipt framed in my garage, just a little reminder. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's legal, documented, and voted on by your neighbors. Moral of the story? Don't be a Karen. But if you have one, make sure the consequences park themselves right at her front door. What would you have done in my shoes? Ever had a Karen moment of your own? Drop it in the comments, I read every one. And if you stayed to the end, comment "Justice served," so I know you're my kind of neighbor. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more true tales of suburban chaos and clever comebacks. And hey, keep your driveway clear. You never know when I'll come visit.